student violinist Mariela Shaker had just graduated from the University of Aleppo in northern Syria when 2 missiles slammed into the campus. Killing more than 80 of her classmates. She described her university on that day as a slaughterhouse. Now her home city of Aleppo is in ruins. The wreckage, a vivid reminder of what it's like to live in constant fear.
I feel that our lives were threatened with death daily. I mean, you don't know when you are gonna die.
Mariela was lucky. She was able to escape the violence in her home country. After applying to many colleges outside of Syria, she is now on scholarship at DePaul, studying for her master's in music performance and building her career as a violinist.
Well, the U.S. was always a dream. I always wanted to come here to continue my music studies.
A dream not easily realized, but she was determined to fulfill it.
First, getting a scholarship was so difficult because it's so competitive and because we didn't have electricity or internet, so I was running between internet cafes with the lack of the basic necessities of life, trying to send my papers to universities and trying to get acceptance. So it was a nightmare.
She reached out to a man listed as a donor on a website known for helping Syrians, and soon she was on her way.
It was like a miracle. I still can't believe that someone who I didn't know before just helped me because he wanted to support me.
But getting here was not easy. Mariela, along with her mother and brother, offered to pay a man to drive them to Lebanon in his truck. He agreed, but gave them a warning: come at your own risk. Her journey was one filled with perilous roadblocks.
It took us 17 hours, a lot of checkpoints, more than 50 checkpoints, and I had to open my violin, laptop, every checkpoint. It's so hard. I was crying all the way until we reached Lebanon. A lot of people I know, they were killed trying to leave the same way.
You're either coming here as a family or you're coming here alone. It's very difficult. You know, a lot of the people that are fleeing war don't want to leave.
Roya Naderi works for the Kerem Foundation. The nonprofit works to build a better future for Syria and help serve refugees through education, sustainable development, and delivering food and aid. But Naderi finds their biggest challenge is fighting the anti-refugee sentiment.
This is just an added obstacle, and one that, you know, we really thought we were like clearing away from. It's just crazy because, like, you would think, you know, it's like 2016 and we're still recycling the same rhetoric that was said in 2001 or even like 1991. It's just crazy, like, how far we actually haven't come.
Naderi says the terror attacks in Paris and San Bernardino concentrated American attention on terrorism. But all too often, she says, the public sees refugees as dangerous terrorists instead of victims escaping a terrible civil war.
You're ignoring that there's a war going on overseas, that there's 4 million people who've sought refuge in neighboring countries. And when you take away attention from that, no one cares about refugees anymore. No one cares that there's a war going on. Everyone's just worried about national security. And you don't look at these people as refugees, as victims of war anymore. You look at them as threats. You look at them as terrorists, and you're perpetuating these feelings of, you know, not wanting to welcome the other into your environment.
Mariela works to combat those public perceptions here in the United States. She performs and raises money for the Syrian American Medical Society to bring healthcare to refugee camps. As a result of her work, President Obama named Mariela Shaker the 2015 Champion of Change for World Refugee Day and honored her at the White House.
She's got this positive nature that just infects everybody.
The interim dean of the School of Music, Judy Bundra, says Mariela fits the mission of DePaul and has enjoyed watching Mariela grow since being here.
I see her as resilient. I see her as courageous. I see her as eager to learn. She came from a background where she had to overcome a lot to become a musician.
At times, Mariela says she feels powerless and hopeless, while her family and friends back in Syria are suffering. but she hopes to become a peace ambassador, traveling worldwide to promote music, what Mariela calls the international language of peace.
I would like to use the power of music to one day have peace in our world, and to let the whole world hear always music instead of guns and weapons.
I mean, most refugees are holding on to this hope that they'll be able to return home. At the end of the day, nobody wants to leave their home.
Mariela calls her mother every day and says it's very hard being away from her. But she's happy she could fulfill her mother's wish for her 2 children to leave Syria and to be in a safer place.
When do you think you're going to see your family again?
God knows. I wish I can do something more for them. My dream was always to come here, but now my dream is to be able to reunite with my parents one day.
For Mariela to obtain citizenship, she has to stay in the U.S. for 4 years. Only then can she see her family again. Reporting for Good Day to Paul, I'm Stephanie Wade.